Welcome to Oz Talk. Hey, we're all here. Today we are going to cover some great Ozzy headlines. We are live right now on Facebook and also on YouTube. So feel free to ask questions, leave comments, participate in the show. That's part of the joy for us in getting to do the show live, to be able to interact with you and our viewers and let us know what you think about the hot topics that we're covering. Today we are going to be discussing the latest drama with a Dorothy dress that is going on auction and the person who has successfully so far blocked it. We will also be talking about some recent Ozzy merch finds and coming back to the big screen for 2 days in honor of Judy Garland's upcoming would-be 100th birthday, The Wizard of Oz, June 5th and 6th. Plus, it's the 40th anniversary of the anime Wizard of Oz series. Our special guest today is Scott Headley. He's the mastermind behind Judy Garland, The Exhibit. This show, of course, is brought to you by the Oz Club. Since the 1950s, 1957 specifically, the International Wizard of Oz Club has been bringing fans together. Head on over to ozclub.org to join. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
How are ya?
Good.
Fine.
Good. Well, it's nice to see everyone. And first, let's begin by talking about this Judy Garland dress, which before being blocked from auction, how much had you all been planning on bidding for it, Tori?
Well, I actually did some math, and if each of my TikTok followers donated $20, we would have had 1.3 million, which maybe would have won us the dress. We discussed it amongst ourselves, but the truth of the matter is, if I was to buy this independently, I've left my $1 million in my other pants. Wow.
Zoe, what would you do with it if you could own it?
Put it on my Spirit of Oz girls. No, absolutely not. Everyone knows me. I love a good bargain. So I definitely would have been at that auction house, be like, there's a hole in it. It's 30% off.
Unbelievable. What about you, Garrett?
I would have a nice, crisp $1 bill. That's about all I could afford.
I feel you. I'm happy with my cardboard cutout back there, but let's take a look at the drama.
A federal judge has blocked today's planned auction of a dress worn by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz, amid questions about who actually owns that iconic costume. You may remember the dress was featured right here on Today last month. It was expected to fetch more than $1 million. In 1973, the dress was given to a priest who ran the drama department at Catholic University in Washington, D.C. He died in 1986, and the school claimed that it was the rightful owner. But now a Wisconsin woman who says the priest was her uncle says the dress belongs to his estate. Well, both sides will have it out in court next month.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity.
Oh, whoa. I didn't preview that clip today. Show.
Roker, way to step on our toes.
I know, exactly. You're actually watching the Oz Club's YouTube channel. Anyway, I wanted to start with this because our special guest today, Scott Headley, actually owns many of Judy Garland's screen-worn movie costumes. And so to weigh in on this, I thought it would be really fun to have him on the show today. And I'm so thrilled he was available. Let's welcome Scott Headley. He is the curator and co-producer of the upcoming exhibit called Get Happy 100 Years of Judy Garland. Scott is a passionate collector of cinema artifacts and considered one of the world's foremost collectors of Judy Garland costumes and memorabilia. He also has an impressive list of amazing screen credits, assisting and coordinating on Broadway and film productions like Sister Act, Big Fish, Rocky and Anastasia, and Netflix's daytime Emmy Award-winning show, Dash and Lily. His current work can be seen in director John M. Chu's masterpiece, the musical movie, written by none other than Lin-Manuel Miranda, In the Heights, one of my favorites. By the way, John Chu directing the upcoming two-part Wicked movies. He has also worked on She Said, The Adam Project, and the final season of The Good Fight. Let us welcome Scott Headley. Hey, Scott.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for that really kind introduction, Ryan. That was
Hey, you've earned it. You've earned it. We're so glad that you are here. So, Scott, I mean, wow. First of all, I guess let's react to this drama with the Dorothy dress. What do you think of this dress being found as mysteriously as it was, going on auction, being blocked? What would you do with the dress?
Oh my gosh, it has been a roller coaster since I've seen this come up. I first learned about the discovery of the dress before it hit the newspaper. The Smithsonian reached out to me. They were trying to authenticate the piece. They had no doubt in their mind that it was original, but they just wanted a little more background information. So they reached out to me. I was able to work with them quite a bit, tell them about the different costumes that had surfaced over the years. And it was a great experience. And then shortly after that, we had learned that Bonhams was going to be able to auction it off. The Catholic University had consigned the dress. And so I had worked with Bonhams, also helping them with some history and research of the costume. So it was a great experience. And then just a week or two ago, we learned that this woman in Wisconsin claimed ownership over the dress, and then they took it down from auction. So it has been a roller coaster. It has been fascinating. I think all of us deep down inside kind of want this costume. I think it would be incredible to add to our collections, but the resources be what they are. Most of us cannot afford it. But, these things are very expensive. And I think that's one of the reasons why, this drama is ensuing, because everybody wants a piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm. Now, you do own, and we're going to take a look at some of the Judy Garland pieces that you actually own, because you're going to be sharing them with the public in a display coming up in LA, which we're going to talk about. But this dress in particular, what would you do with it if you had it?
It would really be an honor to have that costume. I'm trying to take this exhibit across the country and really take it to every single town for the celebration of Judy Garland's 100th birthday. And of course, I would put this in that exhibit. I think it belongs in a museum, but private collectors like myself really take care of these costumes. They are responsible for funding these things. Museums, they really do a great job, but when they hit financial hardship, these are the pieces that get auctioned off. And I don't want that to happen to a costume like this. So it's really private collectors who take care of these individual pieces and keep them going. So I would love to, if I had the opportunity, maybe 30, 40 years from now, to be able to display this, that's what I would do.
And so the first time that you're going to be sharing this exhibit is actually in LA, at a celebration for Judy's would-be 100th birthday. And the Judy Garland celebration also includes the unveiling of the upcoming Judy Garland fragrance, which is a limited edition at first birthday celebration bottle, which will be available at judygarlandfragrance.com. They're actually doing an amazing giveaway where you can enter to win a bottle at judygarlandfragrance.com/giveaway. I know Tori's been working on promoting with them, and she and I are also going to be joining you, Scott, at this event where we will be among the first to see your exhibit on display. You have a website as well. It is judygarlandexhibit.com for everyone to check out and see upcoming dates, because we see you're first there, and then you will be adding to that as you hopefully tour across the country. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. We are in preliminary discussions with San Francisco Symphony. They're having a Get Happy Carnegie Hall type celebration. We would love to bring it there. We're in preliminary discussions with them as well. But I really hope that this debut on June 10th and 11th and 12th will really broadcast to the world that we have an exciting exhibit planned, that more people should join in and bring it to their home city.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about a little bit of what you're going to show there and some of the things. And this first piece I want to talk about is something that I know specifically Zoe would appreciate having and working with in her repertoire. It is was worn by Betty Danko, who was a stand-in for Margaret Hamilton as the Wicked Witch of the West in the movie. We see her here actually in makeup and everything on set. Scott, what do you have from that part of Oz?
Yeah, so it is the blouse. As we know, a full costume from the Wicked Witch has not been seen since the 1970 auction, the David Weiss auction at MGM. So this was recently discovered within the last 6 months, and we were able to add it to our collection. I did a lot of research because I just didn't know the provenance of it, and I was able to authenticate it. This costume, which I have not brought to this are showing today. It will be debuted on June 10th at the 100th anniversary. But it was used in during the special effects sequences. So as we all know, Margaret Hamilton suffered an injury on the filming of Munchkin Land, and she refused to do any more stunts after that. Her stunt double, Betty Danko, wore this costume during the flying in the air sequences when she's on her broom, the Surrender Dorothy. It is made of a different fabric than the other costumes were. This is more of a silk, and it's shiny, which would have appeared better on film versus the wool, the black flat wool. So it's fascinating. It's interesting. It's not as intricately made as the other costumes. There's, those ones had some ornamentation on the sleeves. This is more plain, which also falls in line with it being used for a double, because oftentimes they wouldn't replicate doubles costumes as accurately as the originals. So I cannot wait to share this with everybody. It has never been seen before.
That is amazing. And like, just to hold something that was used in such an iconic sequence. And that was great information you gave about also it not being as elaborate, because I'm sure a lot of people would expect it to be identical.
Right.
Yeah. So could you shed some light for the people listening at home? Would there be different versions of the Dorothy dress out there? Would Bobby Cochet's or Karen Marshall's dresses be different than Judy's?
Well, they would be different in that they would be form-fitting to the actress that was wearing it. There is some speculation as to whether some blouses were dyed a shade pink for them to be able to appear differently, as white on camera during that early technical color process, or if it was used in publicity stills. I have some friends that have pink, overwash dyed blouses, but the most of the blouses that I've seen have been white. So for the most part, the Dorothy dresses have remained, pretty similar. No alterations, except for the black and white dress that we all know about, which is very, very exciting when she steps out of Kansas and into Munchkinland.
So one of the things I always get super curious about is the authentication process, because I grew up in Texas. We had a semi-famous movie studio that it came out a couple years later that all of the stuff they were perpetrating as being legit was not legitimate, including a Dorothy dress. So what actually is involved in the authentication process to determine, yeah, this really is something, or no, this is a really clever fake, or, what have you?
It is a lot of research. You have to kind of research the provenance of a costume. So you kind of go down its lineage of ownership and just making sure that the person who purchased it from the original auction or who obtained it from Kent Warner was really the person who they said they were. There's also stitching. When you look at certain garments, MGM stitched garments differently than, let's say, Fox or Paramount. So you kind of look at the craftsmanship in that. As far as the blouse goes, there is a collector who proclaims to have an original Dorothy dress, and it's been well accepted over the years that this Dorothy dress is authentic. I was very fortunate to meet this individual within the last year. I looked over the Dorothy dress. It is not authentic. The checks are larger. The dress is actually a little bit longer than it should be. And then when you look at the blouse is not made the same as all the other blouses that I've been able to view in the movie. I own a personal blouse that was worn by Bobby Cochet in the film, and there are some telltale signs that this was used in the film. And unfortunately, this collector, this did not exist within that blouse, and I can tell you what it is. So I brought it here to share with everybody. This is Bobby Cochet's blouse that was worn in the movie The Wizard of Oz. This one is a little different as it has buttons on the back. And forgive me, I didn't want to stress it out a little bit, so it's not completely buttoned in the back, but you can see some buttons, and you can see how tiny this costume really was. It's childlike, really. And you can see her name right here, which is pretty exciting. It's very faint because it's very, very old, but it says Bobby Cochet right there. And one of the telltale markers of this being authentic is this piece right here, this bottom hem is hollow. So they would have taken a cord and they would have inserted it into this section of the blouse, and it would have wrapped all the way around, and they would have tied it at the bottom of her waist, so the blouse would not ride up during the making of the film. The individual that I inspected their blouse and their costume, because we were interested in possibly purchasing it for our exhibit, that was not part of their blouse, as well as the marking. So the marking of the blouses and the costumes should all be relatively uniform and in the same handwriting. at least for the Wizard of Oz. The costumes that I've seen, it all has the same penmanship.
So I have a follow-up question about the Betty Danko mask that you own. Is that the you had mentioned it was a silkier fabric, but just to clarify, this was not the fireproof dress that she wore when she was injured, is it?
No, it is not. There's no really fireproofing material for that costume. It's all made of silk. It is lighter weight and is a little bit shinier. Again, just to give that extra pop on screen in front of those blue skywriting sequences.
You're muted, Ryan.
And we're back. That's also cool, Scott. Let's talk through quickly some of your other Judy Garland costumes that are going to be on display there. I know you have something here from the clock.
Yes, absolutely. This is one of my favorite pieces. This was kind of one of the last costumes I purchased from a collector who had a lot of Judy Garland costumes this past year. This costume was assembled mostly within the last 18 months. I've been collecting since I was 3, but there was a collector who got up in his age, and he really wanted to make sure that these costumes were sold to a collector who would take care of them. This was one of the last ones that I purchased. I'm super, super proud to have this and show this in the exhibit collection. This was Judy Garland's only non-singing role at MGM, and it was directed by her husband, Vincent Minnelli, at the time. And it's really a love letter to Judy Garland, I think, from Vincent Minnelli. This is one of Liza's favorites as well. Liza Minnelli was, she was an aftermath after Judy Garland and Vincent Minnelli's relationship, and we're very, very lucky to have her and her breadth of work as well. So I'm very, very excited to have this for the exhibit, and I can't wait to share it with Liza, Lorna, and Joey Luft, as well as some of the other pieces that their parents produced together as well.
What about this?
This is from Easter Parade. This is an annual classic film that is not only reserved for Easter. You can find this on TCM probably at least once a month, if not twice a month. It is a fan favorite. I recently purchased this from Michael Seward's collection, which I think went on auction in 2017. I won this by mistake. I was really going after the vest that was worn in the Born in a Trunk sequence of A Star is Born. It got too high for me, and I got really, really frustrated with some of the other bidders. So I started bidding them up. I'm embarrassed to say my anger got ahead of me. So I was like, you know what? I had always wanted a Judy Garland dress, and this was the first one that I was able to purchase. I was bidding it up and thinking that I wouldn't own this one, and then everybody else stopped bidding. And I was the high bidder, and I had to pay for the costume. And so that's how I obtained it. It went through over 2 years of conservation work. It was heavily stained. It looked like somebody had dropped the costume in coffee or rusty water. And it took me 3 years to find a solution to get the rust stains out. We're not really sure what the stain is. And the stain was starting to decompose the costume as well. So it ended up being very, very fragile. The shoulders had a lot of issues with it as well. It looked like bugs had gotten to it, which I'm sure it hadn't. But the shoulders were completely eaten through, so I had to repair those as well. The image on the left is what it looks like before the conservation work was done. So about 3 years and over $3,000 went into the restoration of that piece. And I am so excited to share it for the first time after the conservation work on June 10th. I think really a lot of people are going to be excited to see it.
What's this one?
This one is from Babes on Broadway. It's a very exciting piece. This was originally part of the Gene London Cinema Collection. They have some wonderful, incredible costumes from all different kinds of stars from every different studio. And Mr. John Thomas, who is my partner in this venture, he donated it to the exhibit collection, and it will be on display on June 10th. There is a sequence towards the end of the film titled Yankee Doodle Dandy, which we are all familiar with, the song, and this is a beautiful silk costume that will be on display during that night.
And we also see something from Meet Me in St. Louis.
Absolutely. I think we're all familiar with this costume. It is a wonderful, wonderful costume. When Judy Garland, or Esther Smith, is proposed to on Christmas Eve by John Truitt, she wears this coat. She's kind of unsure whether she wants to marry. Her heart says yes, but she also has a duty to her family. So she is unsure, and they kind of put the proposal on the table. She runs inside only to find her little sister, Tootie, at the window, not really sure what is going to become of the family after they move to New York City. And she's waiting for Santa Claus. And so her and Esther Smith, they have a heart-to-heart, and she's still wearing the costume. And in order to ease her little sister's suffering, she takes the coat, drapes it over her little sister's arms, and sings "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," which was written for this film and for Judy Garland. I think it's an incredible piece. I'm very, very, very excited to have added it to the collection, and I can't wait to share it with you all on June 10th.
And I'm so excited about this one. I kept showing it. It's the vest from the M1 of the Emerald City.
Yeah, isn't it cute? I think it's really, really cute. This was, I think, the second Wizard of Oz costume that I was able to add to the collection. Before I had become partners with John Thomas, this was part of the Gene London Cinema Collection, and I didn't know who they were. I had purchased this on Christmas, actually, on eBay. It was part of their collection. It didn't really fit in with the stories and the exhibits that they were telling at the time. So I was able to obtain it, and that was the second one that I added. I think it's really, really exciting. You can still see the green on it, and it's very prominent when you watch the film. If you just kind of pause it real quick, you can see the guy in the background wearing it, and we're so lucky to have it as part of the exhibit collection.
I got to tell you, a lot of these were making me very emotional because the costumes that you have in your collection are from very iconic moments. They're not just from the movies. They're from really poignant, important, iconic moments from these films, the kind of moments that are the first ones that pop into your head when you think of these films, particularly the Easter Parade dress. That is the dress she sings Easter Parade in, is in the finale. It's the last shot you see. It's, I don't know about you guys, but I'm so excited to see these garments in person.
And sharing is what it's all about. I'm so excited to be able to bring these on the road in a real way. What I love about costume collecting is it brings the movies that you love to life. And I think we'll find that when we're able to see these in person on June 10th. I just want to share that joy with people of seeing their favorite film and the embodiment of that in real life. You also kind of get surprised too when you see Judy's blouse, which will also be on display on June 10th. I'm doing a display with Bobby Cochet's and Judy Garland's right next to each other. You get to see how tiny these people were in 1938 when they were filming this movie, and it's really kind of shocking. Judy Garland was very small as well. I had to hand carve every single one of these mannequins to fit the costumes. She fluctuated in weight, as we all do throughout life, and so each of the mannequins and each of the costumes were, really thought in mind to be able to bring them to life in that way.
And just incredible. Anybody watching that has any questions for Scott, let us know in the comments. But Scott, thank you. This is amazing. And, we're all going to be brought together. Well, Tori and I will be joining you in LA on June 10th, and some have the opportunity as well to attend, because if you head over to judygarlandfragrance.com, let me put that up there for you, judygarlandfragrance.com, you can purchase tickets to attend this special birthday event that is thrown by Lorna and Joey Luft and, of course, Liza Minnelli, and really to do the unveiling of this fantastic Judy Garland fragrance, which is something that has been created by Vince Spinato. Now, Vince Spinato is incredible. He is a certified nose. He's the author of My Pursuit of Beauty, a caviar and diamond luxe skincare line that he has put together. There's a documentary film called Skin Deep, Formulating a Legacy. And if you head over to vincespinato.com, you can learn all about him, because what he and these lovely ladies and everyone else in his team has put together for this fragrance is unbelievable. It's going to be available exclusively through judygarlandfragrance.com, but also they're going to be doing a giveaway at judygarlandfragrance.com/giveaway, where you can win one of the limited edition birthday bottles, only 10,000 versions of that will be. And then later in the year, around September, the official bottle will launch, again available through that website. And so Tori and I will be there covering for Oz Talk and for the Oz Vlog and for television and the rest of it. So we'll be thrilled to be sharing all of that with you and checking out Scott's exhibit that will be unveiled as well. They're celebrating Judy's 100th. So gosh, quite an anniversary, isn't it?
It's amazing. Can't wait to see you all there. I have to tell you, I was able to preview the fragrance. It smells incredible. It is truly unisex. Anybody will really enjoy this fragrance. I plan to get a couple bottles myself and wear it throughout the year.
That's good to know. I can't wait I'm sure we all can't wait to sample it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can't make Friday night, which I hope you all will because it will be fabulous, we are spilling over onto stage of the Wilshire E-Bell for Saturday and Sunday. So please, if you can't make Friday night, get your tickets for that. It'll be between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. It'll be the exact same exhibit, just on the stage where Judy Garland sang and was discovered at the Wilshire E-Bell.
I love it. Well, and Scott, stick around because we're going to do some more Oz talk here, and you're an Oz fan anyway, so why not hang out with us a little bit longer? We've got some merch to share. Garrett, Zoe, you guys got some new rare books?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first thing is the 1939 movie tie-in edition by Bob Smerrill of Indianapolis, my hometown. So I've had a copy of this in my collection for probably 20 years or so. My grandmother got it for me for Christmas when I was in middle school, but I've never had the dust jacket. And anytime you find it with a dust jacket, it's usually missing like large swaths, or if it is complete, it's costing several $100s. I found this one at a price that I could not pass up. It is almost entirely intact. There's, you can see a little bit in the corners that have gone, which those are always like the first to go, because when you think about a book sliding on and off the bookshelf, this takes the brunt of the action. But it's complete. All the all the color plates are there. It's not very yellowed at all, which is something you commonly see in this. So I'm very excited to have a more intact, more well-preserved copy than I've previously had. And while I was shopping, I was buying these, by the way, a little shout out to Cindy Ragney of Wonderful Books of Oz. I spied its cousin, the British storybook edition, which, again, for the price she had it listed, I couldn't pass it up, so I brought the pair home together. This is very interesting because it is a storybook of Baum's text, illustrated by Denslow, and they highlight Denslow on the cover, illustrated and lined by W.W. Denslow. The same is on the title page here. But the thing is, they forgot to credit someone. There is no credit to L. Frank Baum in this book.
Wow.
Even the dedication is credited just to LFB.
That's horrible.
Semantics.
Yeah, right.
No, NBD.
You're getting it from the pictures anyway, right?
I can say that your copies are much better than the ones in my collection. You did a really nice job finding those. Those are editions, yeah, and very highly collectible. A lot of people seek after those. Those are brilliant copies.
Yeah, I was floored to see them, especially for the price tag. So I'm very happy to have these now.
Garrett?
All right, so mine was, so a little bit of bookish backstory. As many of us know, good old Bob Smerrill published Wonderful Wizard. And when it came time for the sequels, it jumped over to Riley and Lee. Well, until the book went into public domain, Riley and Lee couldn't issue their own edition of Wizard. So when that finally happened, they jumped on it. And they hired a woman named Dale Ulray, who was a newspaper comic artist of kind of like the Sally Worth, romance, like fancy, really pretty artwork versus like Charles Schultz's Peanuts kind of. And so they hired her with the intent of having her do the entire series. And she did Wizard, she did Tin Woodsman, and that was the end of that. But her Wizard stayed in print with Riley and Lee until the white editions of 1965. So there's 3 different covers for hers because, of course. And I managed to find the one that for me has been the harder one to find. It's the Roycraft editions. And in about 59, Riley and Lee decided, let's jazz up the series with new dust jackets. So they first got a gentleman named Roy Kraft, who did these fabulously wild mid-century modern covers. And Wizard's one of the harder ones to find, especially in this kind of shape. I got it in a lot with 8 other books for $30. So I basically paid like $4 for a book I should have paid a lot more for. I'm really thrilled by that. And her art is very, very different from Dinslow. I mean, you can sort of see it. Originally, they printed it all in red and black, which is very striking. But it's much different, much more much more modern for the time frame for sure. And not terribly MGM inspired either, unlike Evelyn Kopelman's, which have a very heavy MGM slant, even though they try to say it's not. And then its second one was when Dick Martin took over, and because Wizard sold the best, so they reissued one with good old Dick Martin. So yeah, so that was kind of my big thing this week was I'm down to only needing 2 more of the Roy Crafts, and I think I have all of his covers.
Wow.
And I need 3 of the Martins, and then I'll have the dust jacketed of the last run done.
Nice.
Those are great.
Tori, any recent additions?
Mine this week, is a little bit smaller for sure. And I dropped it already. Hold on. Mine this week was a little bit smaller, but have you guys heard about these new Wicked colored pencils? These are from thespianswag.com. You can get them on Amazon, and they're just a nice off-brand Wicked tribute, and they have really fun colors like One Short Gray, Dancing Blue Life, Fee Yellow. And so if you're a Wicked fan and you're looking for something smaller to add to your Wicked collection, go for it. These are really fun.
Those are adorable. Really fun. I like the names. It's like the people that get to come up with the names for nail polish, right? That's always the most fun names. Very cool. I don't have anything new, so to speak of, but let's talk about this next.
Celebrate Judy Garland's 100th birthday with fans nationwide in a 2-day-only cinema event. Tickets on sale at fathomevents.com.
I mean, I want to go. Who doesn't want to go? But I'm curious, what's the rarely seen extended? It's got to be the Scarecrow dance number, or
it's got to be the Scarecrow number. There's no other finished sequence that they could put back in, is there?
Unless it's like a Beyonce dropping Lemonade and they've somehow discovered Jitterbug and are just not telling anybody, and they're going to plunk that in. And
there's no way. There's no way to keep that under wraps.
What I'm curious about is, are they actually putting the full number in, or is it like on the 50th anniversary videotape where it's after the film they do it?
I'm assuming it's after. I don't know. I feel like in terms of just rights issues, to go in and edit that film and change, it doesn't change the narrative, but it changes the integrity of the classic because it's not in the final cut. I don't know what hoops they would have to jump through to actually do that publicly and release it and sell it for tickets and the rest of it. So it's probably like a stay after for this extra, is what I'm assuming. I am curious to go and see those. Zoe, what do you think?
I'm going to guess that it's also the Scarecrow dance, which I mean, I love, but it's also, they've been milking that since That's Dancing in 1970, whatever. Which I mean, I love the sequence, but it's also like, that's not really rarely seen anymore. I would love to see it inserted, but like you said, there would be a lot of hoops to jump through. Especially, I believe, since it is part of the American Film Registry, it does require that any alterations to the film be publicly noted going in, and then there is that special clearance. But I could also be wrong about that, so don't quote me on that. But I'm still going to go see it. I'm still going to plunk down my $10 or whatever, because no one passes up seeing the movie on the big screen. At least
Scott, are you going to go see it?
I am so busy that weekend. I really, really hope I begin my trip across the country on the 4th. We're renting a truck and then bringing the collection all the way to the West Coast. So unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to go. But on Sunday, the 12th, Hollywood Forever Cemetery is doing a showing as well. So I'm very, very tempted to go, since Judy Garland was recently moved and buried there, to kind of celebrate her legacy. So I'm toying with that. But who doesn't love seeing The Wizard of Oz?
exactly, on the big screen. It is sort of a religious event for those of us who really adore it. Next, we've got a special anniversary, the 40th, for this. I mean, I love that Aileen Quinn was a part of this. Margot Kidder did some narration, but
you're conflating two.
Wrong one.
Oh my God, that's embarrassing.
Margot Kidder was 1987, which is also the poster you showed in the intro.
Yeah, we caught you, Ryan.
You got me. Okay, so I am no longer in all things Oz.
Yeah,
big red check mark.
Weirdly is not on DVD.
Wait, so is this not even what I'm talking about?
No, that was the right intro. That's the right film.
Right video. You had the wrong poster at the beginning.
Poster. Right, yeah. The poster was the Margot Kidder series.
Yeah.
Right. Hold on, I'll get it.
This is a movie.
Yeah, this was a movie, yes.
Yeah.
Released in the US by Paramount.
Yeah, I don't think this has been publicly released on DVD. I have a bootleg copy in my collection, but it's so much fun. I think it was on VHS for a while.
Yeah, it's on VHS, it's on Laserdisc.
Yeah.
There's
on CED, I think.
There's like a Polish DVD that has like 10 seconds that's not in the US version. That it makes no real difference. You don't see when the Good Witch sends her to the Emerald City, her slate's in Japanese writing. I assume that's why it was cut out of the American. And then the weird giant crow has like 2 seconds of extra footage.
Okay, so who was the voice of Dorothy in the other one?
I'm blanking on her name. Morgan Haylett.
That's it. Okay. I liked Aileen Quinn just because we know her from the movie Annie.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from Annie and this, I don't really know anything else that she did that was as recognizable or fun. She's now in a band as an adult and doing some fun things. You guys know too. You must have followed her career along a little bit.
I'm in the minority that didn't come to this one as a kid. I first saw this as an adult. So it doesn't hold the special place in my thumpy thumb quite like the other anime does. But it's a pretty faithful adaptation. So if you're looking for an anime version that's close to L. Frank Baum's vision, I mean, I think The Witch is one of the more accurate W.W. Denslow-esque witches that we see, although certainly they use a little bit of the 1939 film in spots in terms of the way the story goes. But I think in terms of faithful adaptations, it's one of the better ones.
And it's fun to see Dorothy as a blonde, too.
Yeah.
You don't really get to see Dorothy as a blonde ever, so...
And the score did not have to slap as hard as it did.
I know.
Like you couldn't see it because the screen was over my face, but I was sitting here jamming to that song. And Wizard of a Day, once you hear it, it'll be stuck in your head for a week. But one of the things I love about it, Tori already mentioned the Wicked Witch. I like that they actually made the Wicked Witch a very threatening enemy. I mean, not that the MGM version isn't, but she really shows off her magic in a way that animation allows that live action doesn't always, causing fire and a tumbling bridge and her castle, she can trace Dorothy's footsteps. It's creepy and I love it.
And there's this fascinating little bit of dramaturgy where instead of a bucket of water, it's a gigantic like rain jug that's on the balcony. And it's so perfectly placed to go, oh, it's not just here's a random bucket on a shelf. It's actually there for a purpose. And I think that's such a nice little, like there's a lot of weird little things like that in this film where they paid really odd attention to detail that as an adult I really appreciate.
Well, and it's also interesting because it's a jug of water that does in The Witch in the Sinar version too, or
Yes.
Sinar, however it's pronounced. So I'm like, I don't know if that's like a Japanese thing, like maybe some famous Japanese retelling used
I
a jug.
actually asked a friend of mine who teaches in English in Japan, and he looked back at earlier versions and no, he said it must just be a dramatic choice that they both independently made of each other. Because I was nosy and curious, and I was like, "Hey, you know this sort of stuff. What's going on here?" So,
excellent. Well, very cool. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us also know what else you think you'd like to see us cover in future episodes of Oz Talk. And I want to thank you guys all for joining me today, and the rest of us for watching. And Scott, thank you so much for coming on. We cannot wait to see you in LA and to learn more about and witness your exhibit, to be among the first to see it. And we'll be shooting some video to share and stuff and bring it back to Oz Talk in our June edition. So thank you so much. Anybody that wants to know more can find Scott. You can go to #JudyGarlandExhibit. Also, there's an Instagram you can follow and look up Scott Headley and see all the things that he's up to in film and theater and the rest of it. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And it was nice to see you all. I can't wait to see you in June.
Yes, it will be fantastic. And as we sign off, Zoe, why don't you take it away and let everybody know how they can join the Oz Club?
You can join the Oz Club simply by visiting ozclub.org. And why join the Oz Club? Well, just like Dorothy's journey, the biggest perk is the friends you make along the way. If you want to have more in-depth conversations about the world of Oz, join the Oz Club so you can talk to Ozians across the world and connect. Speaking of connecting, we have Oz, the National Convention, coming up in August in East Aurora, New York. You can learn more about that at ozclub.org.